Hi, Helen from crystalsandcrochet.com here, and welcome to part 1 of the Octagonical. I'm using Starcraft Naturals bamboo cotton for the video tutorials. There are also 2 yarn packs available in the Stylecraft Special DK, that's double knitting. If you haven't already checked out the intro post, please do. You can find it on my website under Crochet Along and then Octagonical. That will give you all the information for how much yarn you need, etc, etc. And then each week, there's 8 weeks in total, or 8 parts in total. Each week the patterns will be available to download, lots of different languages. So make sure that you go to the part, scroll down to the bottom of the page where it says choose options, make your selection, add to basket, and then go through checkout. It is a free pattern, but you will need to do that in order to get the PDF download. Okay, so the videos are all in US terms, so if you're using the videos to help you, do make sure that you have downloaded the US terms photo tutorial as well. I am only human. Occasionally I make mistakes, like for instance I might do the right thing according to the pattern but actually say the wrong thing. So do make sure that you use the pattern to double check all of your stitch counts and all of the stitches that we're using. Okay, so I hope you enjoy. Okay, so round 1 we are going to start with a magic ring. Now you always want to leave yourself a nice long tail, because the only reason a magic ring ever comes undone is because you don't secure it properly. Okay, so yarn over your hand, and then you're going to come under your finger and cross back towards your hand. Okay, hook under the first loop, over the second loop, and pull through, and just bend your hand down like that, and it makes it easy. And then come up, grab that loop, pull through to make a slip stitch to secure your ring there. Okay, okie doke. Now remember, do have the pattern, whether you're going to have just the printed version with no pictures, or I actually think if you need video tutorials then you also need photo tutorials. Okay, so make sure that you've got your photo tutorial open so that you can check at the end of each round your stitch counts and your placements and all that sort of thing. Okay, so we are going to chain 1, and then we're going to make 6 half double crochet into the ring. Okay, so yarn over into your ring, grab a loop, yarn over through all 3. Okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Okay, whenever you finish any round, always double check, even something as simple as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then just pull. I always just pinch that last stitch, pull until you've closed that magic ring. Okay, another little hint for you, for any of you who haven't watched my video tutorials before. Just pull the loop up and take your hook out. That is a 3.5mm hook, which is what the yarn recommends. This is a 2mm hook, okay? So 1.5 to 2 sizes smaller. And you will see why we do this, okay? We're going to join with a slip stitch to that first stitch. Okay, now first of all, it's easier to get in there with a smaller hook, but also, particularly when people first start, they can often mistake a slip stitch for a stitch that they need to work into on the next round. So by using a smaller hook, you can see, let me zoom right in so that you can really see. Oh, sorry, blurry. So I'm going to come, there we go. Okay, there's your slip stitch. There's your normal stitch. You can see it's literally half the size, so you're not going to mistake that for a stitch to work into. Okay, then just pop your normal hook back in. Okay, so that is round 1. Now let's move straight on to round 2, and we're going to make a beginning 3 double crochet cluster in this same stitch as we've joined to here. Okay, so this is our first stitch here. That's where we've joined in there. Okay, so beginning 3 double crochet, chain 2. That counts as the first partial double crochet. Yarn over into the stitch, grab your yarn and pull through 2 loops. Okay, yarn over into the stitch, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 2. Okay, so remember this is a beginning 3 double crochet cluster, so you've got 3 partial trebles, but you've only got 3 loops on your hook. Okay, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Let me just zoom in a weeny bit more. Okay, and then our repeat is to chain 3 and then 3 double crochet, the 3 double crochet cluster in the next stitch. We're going to do that 5 times. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Now something that you're going to find a few times as we make Octagonical is that you are going to be working with chains. So always make sure that your chains are the same size as the 2 top loops of a normal stitch. Okay, you don't want them tighter because it will make your work cup, and you don't want them looser because it will make things go wobbly. Okay, so chain 3 and then our 3 double crochet cluster, yarn over into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook. Okay, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over into the same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, through 2, yarn over into the same stitch, yarn over and pull that loop up, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, and we've now got 4 loops on our hook, so yarn over, pull through all 4. Okay, so go ahead and repeat that 5 times. Okay, so that's our beginning cluster, and then our repeat was chain 3, 3 double crochet cluster in the next stitch. So I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We now need to chain 3 to complete that final repeat. Okay, and we are then going to fasten off. So I always prefer and recommend to use invisible joins. Again, when you're fairly new to crochet, it's very easy to mess things up a little bit when you either knot yarn or when you use slip stitch joins. Okay, so just place your finger on that last chain and pull through. And where's my needle? There we go. If you're working with acrylic yarn, a blunt needle like that one, it's absolutely fine. But when you're working with cotton or cotton blends, you will find that a pointed needle is much better to work with. Okay, so we're just going to thread the yarn onto our yarn needle, and then that is the top of our cluster. So we need to come from back to front underneath the 2 top loops of that first chain. Okay, because when you're doing an invisible join, you always go into the stitch after the one that you're joining to. Okay, and just ease it round. Now with a chain, when we come to making a join with a normal stitch, I will show you that, but with a chain, let me zoom in, move that light down, that's it. Okay, with a chain, you're just going to go in by that first loop. So as you turn over, as you turn over, you can see that's the back loop of the chain, that's the third loop of the chain. Okay, and just pull through, and then you're going to go down, getting all out of focus because I've zoomed in so much. You're going to go down through the back of the stitch. Okay, but don't go too far down in this instance. Okay, I'm just going to leave that one for now, and we are going to work away the tail end of our magic ring. Okay, so again, just thread onto your needle. Now, when you're looking at the back of your work, if you are right-handed, everything moves in a clockwise direction. If you're left-handed, it goes anti-clockwise. Okay, I'm right-handed, so we're going clockwise. Now, when you have very short stitches, like a single crochet or a half double crochet, like we have used, it is very, very difficult to get underneath those stitches to secure your magic ring. So the easiest thing to do is to come up to the next round and secure around here. Okay, so again, just make sure you're pulled up nice and tight, and then come underneath the stitches of those 2 clusters, pull through. Okay, that's better. I've zoomed out a little bit, because when it's too close I have a tendency to pull my hands down, so then everything gets lost. Okay, so jump over a stitch and come back round, just wiggle under those stitches, but not right the way round, leave that one loop, okay? Pull through, then come over that one loop that we left and back, okay? And that, no matter how hard you try, that is not going to come undone. If you really want to be doubly sure, just repeat that again round here. So go backwards and forwards 3 or 4 times, and your magic ring will be completely secure. Okay, so with the other tail end we're going to work in the opposite direction. So just under those next 2 clusters, and back, and then let's snip our ends off. Okay. Okay, so that's round 2 finished. So again, double check your stitch count, make sure that you have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 clusters and 6 chain 3 spaces. Okay? Okay, moving on to round 3. We are going to join with a front post single crochet around any cluster. Okay, so from front to back and then from back to front, and then it's a single, so just a yarn over, bring up your loop, yarn over and through 2. Okay, so that is a front post single crochet. And then in the then we start our repeat. So in the next chain 3 space, we're going to make 3 double crochet, chain 1, 3 double crochet. Okay, so yarn over, straight into the space, pull up a loop, through 2 and through 2. Okay, 2 and 3 double crochet, chain 1 and 3 double crochet. There's number 3. Okay, so we've made like a little split shell, 3 double crochet, chain 1, 3 double crochet. Okay, and then front post single around the cluster. Okay, and that is our repeat. You're going to do that 6 times, but on the final repeat, because you've already made that front post single, you omit that single. Okay, so go all the way round. I'm going to join up with you once I've finished this last shell to show you the invisible join around a normal stitch. Okay, so just once more, 1, 2, 3 double crochet, chain 1 and 1, 2, 3 double crochet, oops, and a front post single. Okay. Okay, so that's the repeat finished. So cut your yarn and pull through. Thread onto your needle. Okay, now with a standing stitch, you're always going to have like a little knot here. And what you can do is just pull that up nice and tight, okay? Because you're going to come in to the next stitch underneath those 2 top loops from back to front, exactly as we did with the first one. And then you're going to go down through the middle, but behind the back loop and the 3rd loop, and then cross over into that standing stitch and pull down, okay? Again, so that your top loops there are the same size as all of the others, okay? And that, where you pulled that little knot through, you can see that that sits underneath the 3rd loop, so it's out of your way for the next round. Okay, now I'm not going to work the ends away every round. I tend to work 3 or 4 rounds and then work the ends away once I know that I've got everything absolutely right. Okay, round 4, we are going to join with a standing single crochet in any chain 1 space. Okay, I always try to start each new colour opposite the old one. Okay, so I've got my tails at the bottom there, that's where that join is. So I'm going to come up and our chain 1 space is there between the 2 sets of 3 double crochets. Standing single crochet. Okay. We are then going to skip the next 3 stitches and working behind round 3 in the next cluster of round 2 we are going to make a group of stitches. Okay, so if you bend forwards, okay, you can see there's your cluster that we made that front post stitch around. Okay, this is our first chain 1. This is our cluster here. Okay, so that's where you're going to go into. If you do go into that chain, it doesn't really matter, but technically that's our cluster that we're going to go into. Okay, so you need to bend round 2 forwards so that you can see that stitch. And we are going to make a little group of 2 treble cluster. Okay, so yarn over twice, into the stitch, pull up a loop, over and through 2 twice. Okay, yarn over twice again, back into the same stitch and through 2 twice, then yarn over and through all 3. That is a 2 treble cluster. Okay, we're then going to chain 2 and 2 treble cluster twice. Okay, so in we go, 1, 2, yarn over twice, 1, 2, pull through all 3, chain 2, 1, 2, in we go, 1, 2, and through all 3. Okay, so that's the repeat. So as you read it on the pattern, you've actually got 2 sets of brackets. You've got brackets within brackets or parentheses within parentheses, but I'll just call them brackets to make it easier. So it says 2 treble cluster, and then we've got another bracket, chain 2, 2 treble cluster, close bracket, twice, close bracket again. Okay, so that's our first 2 treble cluster, and then we've got chain 2, 2 treble cluster once, twice. Okay, so if you are just learning to read patterns, that it sort of explains that all the brackets and all that sort of thing. Okay, we're then going to skip the next 3 stitches, and we're going to single crochet in the next chain 1 space. Okay, so these groups are sitting behind these shells, so that sits forward slightly like that. Okay, let me just grab some more yarn. Let me show you once more. Okay, so bend forward so that you can see that stitch, and remember that's the top loop of the stitch. Okay, that's your chain space. If you're left-handed, it's just purely mirrored, so right-handed, you're there. If you're left-handed, again, it's the loops before the stitch, not the chain afterwards. Okay, and then we're going to 2 treble cluster, 1, 2, chain 2, 2 treble cluster twice more, 1, 2, 1, 2. So each little sort of shell that you're making should have 3 2 treble clusters and 2 chain 2 spaces, and then you're going to have a total of 6 single crochets made into those point spaces. Put my hand there, you can maybe see a bit better. It's always difficult with cream. Okay, there we go. So carry on all the way round. You're going to repeat that 6 times in total, and again we've made that single crochet at the beginning, so omit that from your last repeat. Join to that standing single crochet, fasten off and secure your ends, although as I said before, if you're like me, you will leave them for just a few rounds to make life easier. Okay? Okay, moving on to round 5, and we are going to, sorry, I'm going to sneeze. Okay, moving on to round 5, we are going to join with a standing double crochet in any single crochet. Okay, so again, move your starting point. So into the single crochet with a standing double crochet. Okay, skip the next stitch, which is our first cluster, and we're going to make 2 half double crochets in the next chain 2 space. Okay, so 1, 2. Front post single crochet around the next stitch, so that's the second cluster, and then 2 half double crochet in the next chain 2 space. Skip the next stitch, which is the third, so the only cluster that's worked in or around is the middle one, okay, not the first or third. And in the next stitch, which is our single crochet, we are going to make 5 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, and that is our repeat. So you're going to repeat that 5 more times, but on the last repeat you're only going to make 4 double crochet because you've already got 1 in there. Okay, so skip stitch, 2 half double crochet in the next chain space, front post single around that next cluster, 2 half doubles, skip the next stitch, 5 double crochet into the next single crochet. Oops. 3, 4 and 5. Okay, so carry on all the way around, and then remember only 4 doubles in that last one, join to that standing double crochet and fasten off and secure your ends. Okay, so again, as you finish each round, make sure that you double check your stitch count before you work any ends away, because once you've worked your ends away it's always a nightmare trying to get things out. Okay, so use the pattern to double check your stitch count. Round 6, we're going to join with a standing double crochet in any front post single. Okay, so there's a front post single, so standing double in there, and then our repeat is 2 double crochet in the next stitch, that's 2, and then double crochet in the next 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Sorry if you can hear a fly buzzing around. It's a beautiful warm day here today, so I've got all the windows wide open. Okay, so that was double crochet in the next 7 stitches. I'm going to 2 double crochet in the next stitch, and then double crochet in the next one. Okay, so you will notice with your repeat that you've got a double crochet in the front post single, and then you've got 2 double crochet in the first and last half doubles. Okay, all the rest are doubles. Okay, so go ahead and repeat that 5 more times, so 6 times in total. We've already made the double crochet here, so omit that on your last repeat, and then join to the standing double crochet with a slip stitch in the front loop only. Okay, so once I've gone all the way round, I'll come back to you just before we join up. Okay, so again, take your hook out, pop your smaller hook in and go up, not down. Okay, so up through the front loop only, with a slip stitch. Okay, whenever you're working in a front loop, you always go up from the bottom to top of the stitch. When you're working in a back loop, you go down. Okay, put the normal hook back in and move my PDF up. There we go, and on to round 7. Okay, so we are going to chain 4. Now that counts as a front loop treble. So if you are not familiar with folding single crochets, if by any chance you've never made any of my patterns, because they're in just about all of them, it's worked in 2 parts. So the first part that we're going to do now is the front loop trebles, and then in the next round we make a single crochet through the back loop of this round, but also through the back loop of this round. So I'm going to suggest pop a marker in the back loop of that first stitch behind this chain 4, okay, and pop one in the 4th chain there. Okay, that's the first stitch of this round, first stitch of the previous round, and we're going to join those 2 together. So it may just help you to not get lost. Oops. Get entangled with my yarn. There we go. Okay, so we're now going to front loop treble in the next 3 stitches. Okay, so remember, up from the bottom. If when you make a front loop stitch you go down, what happens is you twist your loop, and it then makes it very, very difficult to work the next round. Okay, don't worry if your front loops stretch up. Oops, sorry. Don't worry if they stretch up like that, because when we make the folding stitch and we push these down and we join into the back loop that these have been made in the front loop of, it will push everything down so those stitches can't get pulled and your work doesn't end up getting all stretched. Okay, so now we are going to start our repeat. I'm going to make 2 front loop trebles in the next stitch. And place a marker in the first one. Okay, we're then going to chain 3. We're going to skip 3 stitches, okay, so that's those 3, and 2 front loop single in the next stitch. Whoops. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, oops, I was in the wrong stitch anyway. Okay, so 2 in that one, and we are then going to front loop treble in 7. Okay, so our repeat actually runs from here, 2 in that stitch, chain 3, skip 3, 2 in that stitch, and then 7 front loop trebles. 1, 2 and 7. Okay, so as I said, our repeat actually starts here. So we're going to start again when we come here, 2 front loop treble in that stitch, place a marker in the first one, chain 3, skip 3, 2 front loop treble in the next stitch, and then front loop treble in the next 7. Okay, so go ahead and repeat that all the way round. You've already made 4 here at the beginning, so there's only 3 to do in the last repeat. Okay, again, I'll join up with you when I come round to the end here. Okay, normally in most of my patterns, when you make a folding single crochet, you make it in the same colour as the front loop trebles, and often it can cause a problem, this first stitch. So I did things a little bit differently this time. Okay, so here's our chain 4, which counts as that front loop treble. So we're going to come underneath, we're going to come underneath from back to front on the next stitch and make an invisible join exactly as we normally would. However, don't go all the way to the bottom of the stitch, because you are going to need to work from this new top loop into that back loop there. So just leave this end free for now, because it will make life much easier when we do this next round. Okay, so that is, where are we at? Round 7 completed. Okay, moving on to round 8. If you are going your own way with colours, I do recommend that this round is made in the same colour as round 5, because these 5 double crochet form the bottom of a diamond shape, and we are going to form the top in this round. Okay, so just a little heads up. So we're going to join with a standing folding single crochet in the back loop of any marked stitch and the corresponding back loop of round 6. So I'm going to start here, because I want to go over where we've joined and show you working into that back loop of that standing stitch. Okay, so I'm just going to put that marker around the post of that stitch so we can see more clearly. Okay, so we're going to go through the back loop. You don't need to go through the 3rd loop, just the back loop. Okay, and you can see we've got 2 front loop trebles here. So the back loop that they're made into is that one there. Okay, so through the back loop of the marked treble and through the back loop of the stitch that they're made into from round 5, pull through both loops and make your single crochet. Okay, and then we're going to do the same in the next stitch, so through the back loop and then into the same back loop, okay, because we've got 2 front loop trebles in there, so we need 2 folding single crochets in there. Okay, and then we're going to start our repeat. Chain 1, okay, remember keep it the same size as the 2 top loops of your normal stitches. And we're then going to front post treble 5 together over the next 5 double crochet from round 5, okay? So yarn over twice, come down and around the post of the first stitch, pull up a loop, through 2, through 2, yarn over twice, around the post of the next stitch, through 2, through 2. Third one, and the fourth one, through 2 and through 2, and around the last one, the fifth one, through 2 and through 2. Okay, so you've got 6 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through all the loops and chain 1 again, same size as a normal stitch. Now we're going to make a folding single crochet in the next 11 stitches. So remember you've got 2 to begin with, so through the back loop, flip your work over so you can see the back loop of the round below. 1, next one goes in the same back loop, okay, and then there's 7 trebles that have got their own back loop at the bottom. Okay, so there's 3, and then the fourth one was our chain. So we made a new top by doing the invisible join, so through the back loop, and then remember we put the marker in the back loop down there. Okay, that marker can go now. So that's 4, 5, 6 and 7. Okay, so we had 2 at the beginning, and then we've just done the 7 separate ones, and now we've got 2 together in that last back loop there. Okay, so we've got 11 front loop trebles that we have made 11 folding single crochets in. 2, 7, 2. Okay, and the 5 together, front post 5 together to form our little diamond. Okay, so go ahead and repeat that another 5 times, 6 times in total. Okay, and once you come all the way round to the end, you're going to join to that standing folding single crochet, fasten off and secure your ends. Now you may well want to leave that one undone, but you can now work the rest of these ends away quite easily. Okay, and these are the ones from the front loop trebles, etc. So just work those away down here at the bottom of these stitches. Okay, and I will see you for round 9 in a moment. Okay, round 9. Now we're going to join with a standing single crochet in the 7th folding single crochet of any repeat. Okay, so that's our 5 together. Then we've got a chain 1. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so again, that's our 5 together. That's a chain 1. 1, 2, 3, 4 left at the end there. Okay, so do make sure that you start in the right place, because it is important for round 10 when we move on. Okay, so straight in there with a standing single crochet. Okay, and then we're going to single crochet in the next 2 stitches. Okay, 1, 2, and you'll notice that I tend to put my thumb on those trebles that have been folded over and just pull them down, just so that you don't catch these sort of front loops from the trebles, and keeps everything nice and neat and easy to see what you're doing. Okay, so now we're going to start our repeat. We're going to skip the next 2 stitches and the chain 1 space, and then in the next stitch, which is our 5 together, we are going to make a treble and then chain 1 treble 4 times. Okay, so we're going to have a total of 5 trebles and 4 chain 1 spaces in there. Now you may or may not have seen this little trick, but if you find when you're stretching to get a treble in, the top loop becomes very baggy, this is how you stop it. Okay, so normally with the treble we yarn over twice, so we're going to do 1 less yarn over, so just 1. Okay, into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over and through 2. Okay, pinch there, take your hook out, and you can see you've got quite a long piece of yarn there. So come over from the front to the back and then go back into, whoops, to back and back into your loop. Okay, and then through 2 and through 2. Okay, see how much neater that is? Cool. Only need to do it on the first one, and it's just that sort of stretch that tends to give us that extra long loop. Okay, remember, keep your chain spaces the same size as your normal stitches. With a normal treble, if you put your finger behind and pull and sort of roll down slightly, that will keep the tops of your normal trebles neater. What am I doing? Talking too much. Yep. Okay, so as it says in the pattern, it's all those brackets again, treble, and then chain 1 treble 4 times, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, So we've got a total of 5 trebles, 4 chain 1 spaces. Okay, we're then going to skip the chain 1 space and the next 2 stitches, and then we are going to single crochet in 7. Okay, 1, 2, again pull those folded stitches down or push them down just so that you don't catch your hook in those stitches at all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, one more, that makes 7. Okay, so we've got 2 stitches and a chain 1 space left before that next 5 together. Okay, so that is your repeat. So go ahead and do that 6 times in total. And oops, sorry, I keep knocking my my little laptop with my PDF on it. Where are we now? Okay, so once you've done that and you've come all the way around, obviously you've already made 3, so you're going to omit those last 3. Join to that first standing single crochet with a slip stitch. Okay, moving on to round 10. There's a hint at the beginning of the round to make all puff stitches to the height of a double crochet. Okay, so first of all we are going to chain 1 and single crochet in the same stitch. Okay, so chain 1 and then straight into that stitch and single crochet. Now again, if you're fairly new to crochet, beginner, if you pop a stitch marker in that first stitch, when you finish this final repeat off, it will help you to get your stitch count correct there. Okie dokie, so our repeat, it's there, put my teeth back in. Our repeat is to skip the next 2 stitches and then puff stitch in the next stitch. Okay, so that's going to be into this treble here. Okay, so puff stitch, yarn over into the stitch, pull up a loop and bring it up to the height of a double crochet. Okay, and then you're going to repeat that 3 more times. Okay, so it's 4 times in total. Yarn over, in, grab a loop and pull it up to the height of a double. Up to the height of a double, and last time up to the height of a double. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Okay, so we've got 9 loops on our hook there. Yarn over and pull through all of the loops. Okay, and then chain 1 to close your puff stitch. Okay, that chain 1 is part of the puff stitch. The pattern then asks you to chain 2, skip the next chain 1 space and puff stitch in the next stitch 4 times. Okay, so that chain 1 is part of the puff stitch, it doesn't count. 1, 2. Okay, again puff stitch, yarn over into the stitch, pull up a loop and lift to the height of a double crochet. 2, 3 and 4. Okay, yarn over through all the loops, chain 1 and repeat. 1, 2, puff stitch, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Ooh. Chain 1 to close. Okay, 1, 2, and puff stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and you'll notice I've hardly got any tension on my yarn at all as I'm doing this, and it needs to be relaxed so that your hook can slide easily backwards and forwards through. Okay, last time, chain 2 and puff stitch. 2, 3 and 4 and through, chain 1 to close. Okay, we're then going to skip the next 2 stitches. Okay, 1, 2, and then single crochet in 3. Okay, so we had 7, so we've got 2 skipped each end and 3 worked in the middle. Okay, so that is our repeat. So go ahead and do that 5 more times. You've already got 1 single crochet in here, so you're only going to make 2, and you're then going to join to that first single crochet, invisible join, and fasten off. Okay.